Welcome back to Conference USA Media Days. I'm Ron Thulin. Up next is Louisiana Tech. Head coach joining us, Skip Holtz, is going to be with us today. Also sitting next to him, Xavier Woods. He's a defensive back, two-time All-Conference USA, and their leading receiver from last season, Trent Taylor. Trent, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're going to get to you last, though. I'm going to talk to Coach first. Coach, one of the questions I had, and I read this quote, you said you don't have a lot of guys returning with playing experience. There are a lot of positions up for grabs. Talk about that.
We just had so many players that just graduated last year. Gone's your quarterback, your tailback, your starting next receiver, safety, both corners, all three linebackers, 3 or 4 defensive linemen. Just there are going to be a lot of new faces on this football team. So not a lot of experience, but I mean we're going to have an opportunity to put this team together in fall camp. We'll get a better idea of really just how good we can be and the way we come together.
I think all of us appreciate the fact that Kenneth Dixon and Jeff Driscoll and the job they did last year. You really can't replace that type of player. So how do you replace those type of players?
Well, it's going to take a village. You know that it's going to take a village to get it done. And when you look at gone is Kenneth Dixon and all the production that he brought to us as a running back, as a receiver out of the backfield, just everything he did for us, his leadership, and Boston Scott and Jared Kraft, young guy Jaquise Dancy. There's some names there. They just have been waiting for their opportunity. And I think anytime you get competition like this, where everybody's vying for that position that's now open, your team you keep elevating everybody. And so right now I think it's going to be done by committee. The leadership of this team is going to be really important, and I think both Xavier and Trent, bringing both of them 3-year starters and the experience that they bring to our football team, their leadership is going to be really important with a lot of the new faces that are going to be on the field for this team.
I want to touch about the quarterback situation one more time because this is the 3rd straight year you've had a new starting quarterback.
Yes.
Will you ever have the same quarterback 2 years in a row?
I'd like to. I'd like to have one 3 or 4 years in a row, just as what Trent and X have done for us at safety and wide receiver. I'd love to have that stability at quarterback, but it's never a problem to play with a 4th and 5th year senior, and that's where we've been very blessed with Cody Sokol and then Jeff Driscoll, and now with Ryan Higgins, who has waited his turn. He got an opportunity to play a little bit as a freshman. I think he's ready to step in and start to handle that role. So I always like playing with upperclassmen, especially at that position where so much of it goes on with that 6 inches between your ears.
There you go. X, I want to talk to you because when I have done your games over the last 2 years, takeaways have been absolutely huge for your football team. It has generated so much offense. How much do you concentrate on thinking about takeaways?
I believe in turning defense to offense. Many guys can just make the tackle, but taking the ball away is a big part of defense. That's changed the game, putting points on the board on defense. That can change the momentum of a game.
Do you find offenses now going away from you? And if so, how do you get yourself back involved? Because when people see you out there, 2-time All-Conference USA, they're going to say, we're not going to throw to his side, we're not going to run to his side. How do you get yourself involved?
I don't believe so. I play middle most of the time, so, there's really not a side. But I just try to fly to the ball, wherever the ball goes. I see the ball, I go get the ball, basically.
It's not a bad defensive philosophy.
I was going to say, that's all you got to do. See ball, hit ball, go get ball. Now, you don't have a lot of guys, obviously, returning on defense, but when I was breaking down the numbers, you have a lot of guys that have played. They may not have started, so they know the system, they know what you're doing right now, and everybody's comfortable, correct?
Yes.
Man of few words.
Man of many, many words. Man of many words.
Just don't try to run the ball on him, right?
No.
It's still probably not very many words. Trent, 99 receptions last year. You and I were chatting before as we see some of the highlights of X there picking off a pass. You and I were chatting about what you worked on in the summer. Now everybody knows what you can do because last season they call it a breakout year. I think you just played great. But what have you worked on in the offseason?
I think during the offseason I've kind of focused more on my speed. Because that's something that, any athlete can always improve in, and it's something that I definitely need to improve in. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on, talking to Coach Hester, getting everything done that I need to get done. I'm not trying to stay at the same level I was last year. I'm trying to improve every single year and anything I can possibly get better at. 99
receptions, over 1,200 yards last year for Trent. Had an outstanding season. What was the big difference last year? When did it click that you said, this is going to be my year?
I don't know if it ever clicked. We just had a couple good games starting out the season, and I knew if I wanted that to last, and I had to keep pounding, keep coming to work every day. I knew it wasn't going to be given to me. It was something you had to go get. every single game, every single day of practice, you got to bring it. So, yeah, just going through that throughout the season, just seeing my numbers as had a better year this past year, and I mean, hopefully I can continue that onto my senior season and keep getting better.
The fact you also have Carlos Henderson there, who's an outstanding receiver, that has to help both of you in a sense that they can't key on just one person.
Right. I mean, he's definitely a threat to any defense. He can run past anybody he wants to. So it's definitely a blessing having him out there on the field, and we got some other weapons out there at receiver that I think we just have a really good balanced receiving core. And so I don't think defenses will be able to just key on one specific person because we have so many weapons out there.
Did you get tired of people telling you that you were not tall enough to play Division I? I know everybody starts laughing, but I see this all the time, and I go back to the Danny Amendolas, played for Texas Tech. Everybody told Danny when he was in high school, you can't play Division I football. Now he's playing in the NFL, obviously. Did you get tired of hearing that?
Yes, definitely.
I won't mention it again. Just don't get mad at me, okay?
I mean, I get used to hearing it nowadays, I guess. But I mean, people who say that kind of stuff, they don't really know all the work that goes into it. I mean, if you want something and you work hard enough for it, then I don't see why you're not able to do it. So I mean, I just go to work every day and try to ignore all that and just keep doing what I want to do. I mean, it's a dream of mine, so I'm gonna keep chasing it. So.
Now, the big question I have for you two, not you, X, have you sung Happy Birthday to the birthday boy yet?
No, we have not sung happy birthday.
Not Happy
We have
Birthday?
not sung happy birthday.
You don't know I knew that, did you?
I didn't.
Who's your birthday, dog?
The birthday's the 26th. Yeah, it's his birthday.
Oh my
Happy birthday,
God.
my friend.
Thank
So
you.
what do you think Coach is going to give you for your birthday? Anything?
A ride home.
That's it? And you get to keep the shirt, right? Skip, how exciting of a time this year. You and I were joking about that the summer's over right now.
Yes.
And not only, I don't think people understand, not only you start getting excited and your staff, but I think your families are also gearing up.
Yes.
What is this time of the year, knowing that in a few weeks you'll be in full force practice?
Well, we, as a staff, you get into the summer camps and you go through all that, and then we started our meetings on July 18th. So for us as a staff, we've begun, and you're kind of getting the finishing touches on everybody's reporting schedule when they're all going to be coming in. But I think it's an exciting time right now. We always tease, our season started in January 1. The 2016 season started. Now the magazines come out and everybody talks about, I'm so excited for this season to be here. Well, these guys here in this football team, I mean, they've been there. They've been going through winter workouts, going through spring practice, spending their summers in Ruston and the hot days on the turf, running and conditioning and doing all type of drill work. They've been working for this. What's about to start to happen, we're all about to come to camp, and we are getting to the point where we're a month away from the season to start, and that's creating a lot of excitement and energy, not just for our team, for our coaches, for our fan base and alumni, but I think really for the country that follows college football.
Well, you're looking to go to a bowl game for the third consecutive year. The standard has been set. Do the players coming in understand that the bar has now been raised at Louisiana Tech?
Well, I think, when you talk about all those players that just walked out the door, we've graduated, I think, 9 linebackers in the last 3 years. We've played with 3 seniors every year. We've won because of our players, and that's why I said earlier, now it's time for X and Trent to start to lead, to show these young guys what the standard is and what it takes, and that's why we have to put this football team together. But unprecedented success, we can have the opportunity to go to 3 bowls, but I think right now as a football team we're trying to put this thing together from the inside out, and with so many new faces we still have a lot of work to do during fall camp before we're ready to get on the field against Arkansas on September 3rd.
Well, your first 3 games include Arkansas and Texas Tech in the first 3 games. Good or bad to have those type of opponents right out of the chute?
I think it's great. I think it's good. It gets everybody's attention. I mean, when you're in spring ball, you're in summer, you're in fall camp. Everybody knows the standard it's going to take. And you look at Arkansas; it's one of the better teams in the Southeast Conference, especially in the West Division, with the success that they've had. And so it'll be a great challenge for us. But it also sets that standard for where we want to be. And I think you can read about that level in a book, you can watch it on TV, but until you put your cleats on and put that helmet on and that chin strap and adjust it up, that's when you learn what it's all about. So I think it'll be a great learning experience for us, and I think we're going to find out a lot about our football team in the first 3 weeks of the season.
X, what about playing a team like Arkansas and Texas Tech?
I believe it's great. I love those atmospheres, playing against those big-time schools. I mean, I feel like we're big-time as players, and for our young guys, it gives them an opportunity to to play in that atmosphere and to play against those guys.
You're going to get a workout when you play Tech. You realize that.
I know
Holmes
that.
is a pretty good quarterback, and I know Kingsbury's going to throw the ball all over the place.
Fast pace, man. A lot of plays. Just getting ready for it.
How about playing at a school like Arkansas and Texas Tech?
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you always grow up dreaming about in front of a big crowd like that. I mean, that's what you work for, being able to play in front of that many people. You gotta love it. So.
One final question. Go ahead.
I was going to say, when you talk about playing in those type of atmospheres and those type of games, you find out on your football team who's going to rise to the top in those big games and those big atmospheres, and that's where, when I look back at the Kansas States and the Mississippi States and the schools we've played in the last couple of years, the type of competitor that these two young men are. If we can get a whole football team like these two, we're gonna be fine to get out on the field and compete.
I want to talk about special teams because I don't think enough people realize how important that is. You have Lou Groza, semifinalist, Jonathan Barnes coming back, was outstanding kicking field goals last season. How important is it to have that kind of special team and a player like him?
Well, and especially just as a sophomore. I think Jonathan Barnes, I say all the time, he's a football player that kicks. I mean, a lot of times kickers march to the beat of their own drummers, I mean, but
Yeah.
I really think he's a football player that kicks, he lifts, he runs, he competes with our football team. He just happens to, his job as a kicker. I think he's mentally tough, and just as a sophomore, for him to have the success he did last year and to know that type of experience is coming back makes me feel a lot more comfortable than I was a year ago going into it.
Do you set goals for this team?
We do. We'll set goals. We will set those goals as we get into camp. We don't just sit down and say, okay, every year here are the goals. We will talk a little bit more as a leadership committee and with our seniors and our upperclassmen about what we want to do and what we want to accomplish. And as we get through camp and get a little bit better idea where we are, then we'll sit down and try and set some realistic goals for our football team. But I know when you look at, you talked about the standards been set by having the opportunity to compete for division championships and conference championships and win 2 bowl games the last 2 years. I think the bar's been set pretty high, and I know when we sit down and talk about all these things, these football players are gonna have some lofty goals that they have in mind for this team, and excited to start to accomplish them this fall.
Do you set goals?
I mean, personally and for the team, yes, sir, I do.
Personally?
I mean, not exact goals. I mean,
not number of catches
yeah,
or
but
yards.
like I always want to improve on what I did the year before that. So I mean, that's really what I did the year before. That's kind of my goal, is to better that in each way I can. So.
Max, how about you?
Definitely. Means overall, just want to be a way better player than I was last year. And that's what it all comes down to.
If you're a better player than you were last year, he's going to keep smiling.
I'm gonna smile a lot.
I'm telling you, you guys have been outstanding. We appreciate it. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. Look forward to seeing you during the season, Coach.
We look forward to it too as well, Ron. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll be back with more Conference USA Media Days from Dallas, Texas when we come back.